Assalamu alaikum. Today I want to talk about the topic about choosing the right role model as a Muslim teen. When you clicked on this video, you saw David Goggins, you saw Andrew Tate, and you saw the Islamic symbol. I put this in the thumbnail for a reason. Those are basically mental toughness, self improvement, and money and faith all in one picture. And that's what we tend to always think about. That's always on our mind: money, faith, and our mental toughness and improving ourselves in every aspect of life. When we think about a role model as a Muslim, when we think about a role model, we should be thinking about someone who aligns themselves with the Islamic values. And if that person aligns them with the Islamic values, he should be suitable to be a role model, which is exactly what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was always striving to do more. He was always striving to spread Islam. He was also striving to do many things. Economically, he was doing great. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the greatest man to ever live. He did so much for Islam, and that's why he should be the role model that we look up to instead of Andrew Tate, David Goggins, and all these other people. Everybody goes towards other people like basketball players, soccer players, these people who always talk about self improvement. Everybody goes towards them first. And we tend to forget that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived such life which we wish we could have lived. A story is that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was sitting with his companions. And the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was smiling and he said, "I can't wait to see my brothers." All the companions started looking towards each other and they asked him, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, "Are we not your brothers?" He said, "You are my companions. My brothers are the ones who will believe in me even as they haven't seen me." The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said this. And imagine acting and looking up to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and trying to follow every single sunnah and trying to do every single thing you can to be like him. And the Prophet Muhammad SAW talks about these people, the ones that believe in him even though they haven't seen him. They believe in the unseen, which means they also believe in Allah. That's what the Prophet Muhammad SAW said. He said, "Those are my brothers." Now, as I'm not saying Andrew Tate, David Goggins, and all these other people don't appreciate their, you could so-called fans. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm not saying they would take it to such extent where they would be standing nights and nights for making dua that for us, which is exactly what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did. He stood nights and nights making dua for us. And on the day of judgment, the only person that will still be making dua for us is who? No one except the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Do we deserve it? Who knows? But when you look up to these people, you have to understand that if they don't align themselves with Islamic values, then how can you also listen to them? It's basically just whenever we think about something, it's basically just money, wealth, money, working out, like your body, all that, and your mental toughness and your faith. But everybody knows what always comes first is your faith. Then can come the money, the body, whatever. But always the faith comes first. Now I'm not saying that you should take these self improvement people like Hamza, David Goggins, and Andrew Tate completely out of your lives, but I say take them as motivation. Learn from their mistakes. Like how David Goggins became really, really fat and overweight, but he worked his way through it because of his mental toughness. take it as motivation, but don't start acting like them when maybe not. I'm not saying David Goggins. Who knows what David Goggins' faith is? But I'm not saying that you should completely cut them out of your lives, but take them as motivation instead of just praising them and to a certain extent where you started becoming like them and you start acting like them. So please understand who's your role model and who isn't. Stop looking up to these other people. Like, stop looking up to basketball players, soccer players. I'll say that once again. Stop looking up to them. Start looking up to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Every situation that you have, every problem you have, go first to make dua with Allah, and then go to the hadiths. Find something similar to your situation. And the Prophet ﷺ could have handled that situation by himself. And you could see how he handled it, and maybe you can gain an idea or two and figure out how you can solve that situation as well. There are numerous individuals whose lives reflect on Islamic values and impactful figures who contribute positively to society while staying true to their faith. But we have to understand that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, should be our only role model. Then comes a scholars, then comes a Sahaba. But he should be our only role model. He was the greatest man to ever live. He was the man who went through such hard times, but still had faith. Like, it's crazy how people still consider all these other people except him as their role model when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did so much for us. So, thank you for joining me today on Iman Project. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and until next time.